Now, around 200,000 people have opted out of receiving child benefit ahead of changes on Monday. Families with one parent earning more than £50,000 will lose part of the benefit, and it will be fully withdrawn where one parent earns above £60,000. But unless parents opt out of receiving it by the end of Sunday, higher earners will still get the benefit and will have to pay it back later. Well, to explore this, we can talk to Phil Ogulnik, who's a benefits expert and director at Entitled To, a provider of online benefit calculators. Phil, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us this evening. An awful lot of people have a lot of question marks going on in their mind about this. I mean, first things first, if someone is unsure about whether they need to go online and opt out of child benefit by tomorrow evening, what would your main advice be to them?
My main advice would be don't do anything at the moment. There's nothing wrong with continuing to receive child benefit, registering for self-assessment if you're not already paying tax through self-assessment, and then when it comes in fact to next year, either in October if you do it on paper or this time next year if you do it online, then you just pay the charge and you are not doing anything wrong and you won't lose out financially that way. So if in doubt, don't do anything or register now 6 months ahead of time for self-assessment.
I suppose a lot of people are thinking, oh, I don't want to have to go through that whole, self-assessment process, so let's opt out now. But, you're saying just hold the horses, as it were, and make sure that they're not going to lose out on some benefit that perhaps they may be entitled to.
Exactly. I mean, I think the danger is that you will make a mistake in terms of mistakenly thinking you're going to lose all of it when you might only lose part of it. And even though there is a system through HMRC for claiming it back, actually self-assessment isn't that bad. Once you've done it the first time and got over the hurdle, if you're doing it online, it's pretty straightforward year after year.
So talk us through the scenario where you have someone earning between £50,000 and £60,000. They are going to lose some of the benefit, aren't they?
That's right. So there's a sliding scale between 50 and 60,000. So for each extra £100 that you earn, you lose 1% of your child benefit. So that if you're on 59,000, you're only going to get 10% left to keep. But if you're on 51,000, you're going to keep 90%. But either way around, you are going to be better off between 50 and 60,000, keeping the child benefit and paying the charge, because the charge will be less than the amount of your child benefit.
What about people who are earning, say, 60,000 or, just over 60,000? Are there any strategies that they can use, perfectly legal strategies, to actually take themselves out of that particular income threshold?
It's perfectly okay to do things which reduce your gross income, so your full pay, to your what's called net adjusted income. So that's things like paying into a pension, or you might get childcare vouchers from your employer, or you might pay gift aid. And all those things will reduce the net adjusted income that HMRC look at when they're making this charge. And indeed, if you're on that taper, if you're between 50 and 60,000, it's like getting extra pension tax relief. So if you've got 2 children, in a full year, that's like getting an extra bit of tax relief of 17.5% on top of the normal 40% that you get as a higher rate taxpayer. So for some people, that is worth thinking about.
OK, so there are sort of strategies out there to look at, and that's another good reason, I guess, for people taking their time over this and not sort of rushing into doing anything.
Exactly. I mean, if you've got any doubt, you should register for self-assessment. You can't lose out by paying the charge. The only problem is the hassle of filling in the form. As I've said, the first time it's time-consuming the first time, but after that it's very straightforward. And I think if there's any doubt, you should keep on getting the child benefit and register for self-assessment. That's the fail-safe thing to do.
OK, well, Phil, thank you very much for talking us through the practicalities of that. We've been talking
Pleasure.
about the politics a lot tonight, but that's the practicalities. Phil Ogulnik there from Entitled To. Thank you very much. Now, you can get more on how the changes to the rules on child benefit could affect you on the BBC News website. That's bbc.co.uk/news.